Hello community. This is not your normal video that you expect. This is only a video I do for researcher access program applications for OpenAI. So if you're not a researcher at a university or a PhD student, math, physics, computer science, this is not a video for you. Okay, here we go. So let's start this. We have here company OpenAI and we have here the researcher access program application. By the way, this application form is not by an official OpenAI server. This is somewhere on a form server. So you ask me, hey, is this real? Yes, I could verify. I looked at the OpenAI documentation, and from their OpenAI internet domain, there is this link to this researcher access program application. And you ask me, hey, how do I apply for a research contract with OpenAI? And here we have the first major mistake. This is not a research contract. This is not a research contract at all. And you should be careful and have a clear expectation management. If you're gonna apply for something, we're gonna define, we're gonna have a look now in detail at the application form. But you have to know something. Look at the picture on the left-hand side. Decide who you want to be. So let's say there's this beautiful young upcoming company here about artificial intelligence somewhere in California. Now, their expectations are clear. They're in the middle of their product development lifecycle for ChatGPT or other products they have. They implemented already their in-house ideas, and now they are looking for new ideas. And they, as you know, they said, hey, we have to make a lot of revenue. We have to increase our profit a lot of. So they are now crowdsourcing for insights into their product development, new ideas they can implement within their existing products, improve their products, whatever it is. So their position is really clear. Now, if you look at their experience, because they have quite a low staff, so what is their experience up to date? Now, if you read the documentation they provide about ChatGPT, you see they have a lot of human labeler. And what is their cost that they experienced? Now, as I showed you in one of my last videos, they experienced about $2 to $15 per hour for micro jobs. And normally they hire companies that they have their workforce in the global south. You know what I mean? Africa, Nigeria, Latin America. Those companies exist and they do this human labeler job for all those AI companies. If you want, there's a beautiful article about how Facebook is employing those persons here in the global south to delete hate speech from the Facebook comments. So this is now the position that OpenAI is. And now they publish this, I would call it shady form, and now they crowdsource for new ideas. So you might ask, okay, but what options does this company have? Now, if I would officially comment on this, I would say this, but since I'm not commenting on this, so this is just a theoretical discussion we're having. So maybe the company would say, hey, we need external help. We like to pay here Western universities and top-notch research institutions around the globe a lot of money for a commercial contract with profits to provide us with new insights and ideas for our product development. You, as a PhD student in mathematics or physics or wherever you are, computer science or whatever, you are familiar with this if you are already working at a university, for example. If you're an assistant or whatever, you know this. We have here these positions that you have either you receive grants from your, I don't know, government or from international institutions or whatever, or you do contract research work for clients. And now this would be one of the options. Or, and now this is just a theoretical view, you choose the way B. So you say, hey, we as a company, as a private company, we are very generous, you know. I mean, look at Microsoft, Bill Gates. And we provide now access for young, intelligent, brilliant researcher, mathematics, physics, computer science, you name it, around the globe to use our compute infrastructure. Now let's name it ChatGPT, for example, or maybe Microsoft Cloud product services, Bing AI, Bing Chat, whatever. Now, for their research projects. So they position themselves that they are generous and they allow you, as an intelligent researcher around the globe, that you can use the compute infrastructure, which is expensive, absolutely correct, for your research projects. And they say, yeah, by the way, you know, there's just a small detail. We give you a detail list, what we want that you look at and that we prioritize for our product development. And at this moment, maybe you get a feeling what this is all about. But of course, they say, hey, we are open and generous, so please feel free to ask us for any other funding that is not on our list for projects we have not specified in detail. Just ask us. So you clearly see crowdsourcing for newer product ideas, product development, and here we go. Now, let's have a look at now exactly here at this document. So here it is, and I would say let's start from the very beginning. So here we go. OpenAI, nice logo, research access program application. So we are interested in supporting researchers using our products to study key areas related to the responsive deployment of AI and mitigating risk associated with such system. We are interested in an opportunity for subsidized access. And now if a private company tells you, hey, we give you an opportunity for subsidized access, this means they know exactly that you as a researcher at a university or in an institution, you are familiar with public grants from your government where you have, as a university, come up with, I don't know, 30% of the costs of the experiment, and they subsidize the 70%. That's left. So, but this is not government, this is a private enterprise. And they use here already in the introduction a subsidized access because they know exactly that you as a researcher, you are familiar with public grants by your government. So, they say, please provide us with details about your research use case. We are currently prioritizing research in the areas listed below, but we are excited to hear more about other research questions. Great. Then this, come on, we encourage applications from early stage researchers. So brilliant young people who have no idea what their work is really worth in dollars. In all countries. So welcome, we have a lot of experience with the global south, and there are brilliant people over there. But I don't like that you would trick them into giving them just a subsidy and use their brilliant ideas almost for free. This is why I do this video. So we are especially interested in subsidizing work from researchers with limited financial and institutional resources. So if you address researchers in the poor countries, let's make it clear, and you tell them, hey, we would like that you have access to our infrastructure, but we do not pay you fully. No, we would like to subsidize your work. I don't like this, but okay, so here we go. So please note that due to high volume of requests, it may take some time, and not all research will be prioritized for subsidy. We will keep in touch with you. And you say, oh, beautiful. So what they want to say email, first name, last name, and institution organization. So normally IBM, University of Virginia, or whatever you have here now. You're a PhD student at the Faculty of Mathematics of whatever. So they are looking here clearly for, not for freelancer, but for institutional researcher. And this is clear because those are familiar with grants. So let's look at detail at the research areas. And this is here some interesting insights we can get. And if you write a proposal, please read this carefully. So the following questions for each area are illustrative. I love it. So alignment. Okay. Yes, yes. So here we go. They have still the problem how increase the content to the objective aligned with humor, such as prompt design and fine-tuning. You know that with prompt design in context learning, if you are not able to do the full fine-tuning task on a pre-trained model, then you have the option to have here this prompt design injected, which of course is cheaper than fine-tuning, but up until now does not give you the quality results of fine-tuning. So of course they want, since they are here more or less here with the upcoming GPT-4 model in prompt design, because it is really, really expensive to fine-tune a full GPT 3.5 or whatever they have currently. So I can understand that they ask you here fine-tuning versus prompt design. Second, so okay, you forget here the marketing slogans. We look here, improved. Language models to be improved in order for representation of context. Well, of course. What I especially like is here interdisciplinary research. How can AI development draws on insights from other disciplines such as cognitive science or socio-linguistic? So in my words, how can we finally get rid of hate speech and have here finally that what we tried to do with reinforcement learning from human feedback, how can we automatize this, that every word that we do not like to have, how can we get new insights from other disciplines we have not yet implemented? So, and then transparency. I mean, I think unbelievable. Look at this sentence. How do these models work mechanistically? So the creator of GPT-3 asked now here the science community, hey, by the way, how do our models work now, really? Can we identify what concept those models are using, or extract latent knowledge from the model, take inferences, or make inferences about the training procedure, or predict future behavior? So clearly you have, if you remember with Bing Chat here, where Microsoft had to lobotomize here Bing AI because it was going off the rails. So they ask here, hey, how can we predict this very negative behavior? How do we have some indicator whenever it's gonna happen? So predict surprising, this means negative for us, future behavior of the system. How can we tame the system? I think it's absolutely fascinating that they still ask you today those questions. They want the research community to answer those questions for them, and they look for new insights here. Of course, misuse potential. You remember prompt injection, what happened? Yes, you can misuse their system, and this is shocking to us, that new technologies, that there are some people who are really testing out these new products before we give it in the hand of our children. And then model exploration. Yes, yes, yes. We are excited by investigation in many areas, including model limitation, linguistic properties, reasoning. Reasoning will be the main topic coming up, and potential uses for many other problems. Means how can we diversify our product for other market sectors? So just to give you an idea what they are looking for. And those are great questions, don't get me wrong. Great question. Now, the last point in the content they provide to you, if you want to apply to them for a subsidy, they tell you here robustness. And as you can see here by the length of this paragraph, they spend some really time here to formulate these questions here. So maybe they have here a specific focus on robustness. Generative models have uneven capability surfaces with the potential for surprising strong and surprisingly weak areas of capabilities. If you would translate this, I mean, if I would translate this, our model works sometimes, and sometimes our model in different training areas do not work at all. I will show you about some clinical case studies. So how robust are large generative models? So they are decoder stack to perturbations in the prompt, such as phrasing the same idea in different ways or without typos. So prompt engineer. Can we predict the kind of domains and tasks for which large generative models are more likely to be robust or not robust? And how does this relate to the training data? I mean, these are core questions of a company that more or less promoted those technology. And they can come up with the questions, can we predict the kind of domains or tasks for which our models are solid or not? And then they go on. Are those techniques we can use to predict and mitigate worst case behaviors? My goodness, you should have figured this out by now. At least you are selling those products soon. How can robustness be measured in the context of few short learnings across a variation in prompts? They are still asking you about, hey, can you explain our model to us? It is fascinating. And yes, if you're a researcher, for example, mathematics, PhD in mathematics, there's so many open questions, so many open surfaces you could try to approach this problem. So great. They go on, can we train models so that they satisfy safety properties with a very high level of reliability? So how to make their model safer. So you see, these are essential questions they have for the survival of their product, for the survival of their company. And they crowdsource this in a sheet with a logo. You can copy any logo you want on any sheet that you want. There's no contact OpenAI, nothing. Beautiful, great. So you get an idea what they're looking for. And now we come to the project description. So it's nice. And they say, within the research area selected above. So you selected a research area. You click here, research area. And you're absolutely free, but you can select it. Please describe the work, the type of work you plan to do with the API and your approach. So they tell you, hey, okay, we give you a computer infrastructure, but tell us what is your brilliant idea, what you want to try, which approach you want to test out on our model. Explain to us where we failed and where you might have the idea to save our product or get a new development cycle for our product, approach new markets with a better performance, more innovative. So you get the idea what's behind this. But of course, they're not going to pay you the money you're worth, but they just pay you a subsidy. But more about this a little bit later. So include your proposed research questions, your hypothesis that you have, why you think you have a solution, the brief research design, and maybe tell us the results you expect, because then we have access to your complete knowledge. Beautiful. So you see, this is absolutely clear from the perspective of OpenAI in California. They have to generate revenues, they have to generate profits. Absolutely clear expected behavior of this company. Okay, timeline. Now for a research proposal, you might say, okay, a timeline. It is not a research proposal. You are working for them in their development cycle of their product. So we have here helpful a comment here by OpenAI, 3 months or 6 months. So you know this is the interval you can work with. Beautiful. And then this is the questions I love about this. The research budget. And this is exactly like you have if you apply for a federal grant. I have had hundreds of applications for federal grants or subsidies or whatever. And the research budget is, of course, what budget you anticipate needing for this research. And now, because I know my colleagues, I've been in your shoes, and you think, okay, I cannot ask for too much. And you know, I got an email from university, and they asked me, hey, how much can I write here for research budget? If I use their infrastructure, I have to be thankful that I'm allowed to use their ChatGPT or whatever platform they have. So I can't really put in here the full budget I have. And to give you an idea, I don't know, a PhD student, if you go in Europe, for example, your hourly costs may vary because of the overheads the university adds on top of you. So I have seen proposals ranging from $100 to $500 per hour for a PhD mathematics, physics, when they are working on industrial research projects. So $100, $500 per hour in Europe is what is paid. So just to give you an idea. And then I get an email by a PhD student in mathematics, and he asked me, hey, I asked my professor, and he said I should not put in more than $5,000 for the research budget, because this is what a PhD student is worth. Let me tell you, those old professors who entered the university where there was just a steam engine, it is the area of the steam engine they are coming from, and they give now a brilliant student who might have a brilliant idea for a Microsoft company that enables them to generate billions in revenues. And you ask me, is it okay if I put here 5,000 or should I go below $5,000? If you put in less than 5 million, okay, I'm a little bit emotional on this topic, but anyway, number of investigators. Now here it is interesting, because this company, of course, has only a limited access to multidisciplinary researchers. And since they do not want to give visibly here a research contract to either a university or a group of universities for some heavy questions, they ask you, hey, for your idea, show us that you're really multi or interdisciplinary, that you have access to exceptional individuals who also have great ideas. So if you can combine them, put them, all of them in your team. So we have access not to just one individual, but to a group of outstanding individuals who can help us in our product development cycle. I would say this if I would make any comment, but since I do not comment, this is all theoretical. Beautiful. And then, of course, past research. Show us what were your current work here at the university, where you published. This is the typical what you have here. You can take everything that you prepared for your national funding or for your public grants from your, I don't know, Ministry of Science and Research or whatever you have in your country. So here we have here the classical example. Show us your past research, your publication, where you are working, what are the colleges, or the people you're working with. So beautiful. This is it. So now you have my personal view on this piece of paper, and I hope I've given you an idea how I would fill out this paper. Of course, if you have now the wish to present them a brilliant idea, and if you're a PhD student or whatever, wherever you are in the world, you can have brilliant ideas. And maybe you are inexperienced as a very early stage researchers, but you should know the other side of the company, how helpful your contribution could be for their commercial business. And please do not treat this as a subsidized grant for your national government or whatever. This is here a product development work you do for a profit organization for their further product development, and they want to make billions with this. So just to put your contribution in the right light here, and if you are interested that maybe you get hired by this company, or you have some multi-year contract or whatever, I know that you are clever enough to not give them your complete idea, send everything how you want to do it, and every other idea, that you do not write this in the project description, but you keep a little bit of the suspense that they get an idea that you are brilliant and your solution would enable them to make millions and billions of dollars. But maybe they want to hire you and not just give you access to a researcher access program application sheet on a server that is not connected at all with the OpenAI domain. There's no information after the research that you can publish this research, because as I told you, if it is here in the product development stage of a private company, this is in our university definition, a contract research for an external party, for an industrial party. And therefore, you can here have a high profit margin because without knowing any further details, they did not specify that you have the right to publish in any way or form. So if you have a brilliant idea, you put in here in this sheet of paper, you press the button submit, you don't know exactly where it's going, you don't know the evaluation criteria, you have no idea about it. Think about what you want to put in, how you want to put in, think about the budget you might ask, think about the expectations and the knowledge the other side has. And then I hope I contributed a little bit to your successful application as a researcher who wants to have access here to OpenAI infrastructure resources, which they are so humble and generous that they provide maybe a subsidy for you in your university. Thank you for listening to this. I hope you enjoyed it a little bit, and best of luck for your application.